Hari Pashad Prabhu will be here. So we'll have announcements about his visit here. Okay. So thank you so much. So without further delay, we'll start our talk show. And we request everyone to come all the way in front because we'll have more devotees walking during the talk show. So if everyone can please come all the way front. Up to you, man. We normally just start with the talk show. Okay, so everyone please settle down. Okay. So the So I will give the mic to our host for today, which is going to be Shweta Manjari. She's going to host the talk show today. Haribo!
Hare Krishna, everyone. What a treat we have today. I know His Holiness Bir Krishna Maharaj needs no introduction, especially here, but I'm going to give a little introduction anyway, just so we can see how inspiring is the personality we're about to hear from. Bir Krishna Maharaj began to read Srila Prabhupada's books while attending Northwestern University. He was impressed by Srila Prabhupada's scholarship and saintliness and joined Krishna Conscious Community in 1971 and took initiation soon after. In decades of service, he has traveled to universities throughout the U.S. to distribute Prabhupada's books. He was also directly involved in the publication of Srila Prabhupada's books in English and Spanish. He also spoke widely about Krishna consciousness in South America, Central America, and the Caribbean. He took the renounced order in 1978, and in 1982, he came to North Carolina and opened his first permanent Krishna Conscious Center, our beloved New Goloka Dham.
Oh my God.
Around 1985, he began to work as a GBC and is especially focused on developing a culture of empathy within ISKCON. He has published 2 books, You Are Not the Body and Encounters, and has made propagating this
3 books.
3 books, my bad. What's the 3rd book, Maharaj?
Empathic communication.
And empathic communication, and has made propagating this Krishna conscious knowledge his life and soul. So we are so happy and fortunate to have Maharaj here and so excited to learn more from him. Without further ado, we'll get right into this, Maharaj. I'll ask you 6 to 7 questions along with a rapid fire round at the end.
Who made up the questions?
Aditya Prabhu's stamp of approval, so no
Okay.
monkey business here. And the last 10 minutes, we'll take 1 or 2 questions from the audience, if this sounds okay with you.
Yeah, it sounds okay.
Wonderful. So, first question is, how did your journey of Krishna consciousness start?
It started when I was listening to the radio and trying to enjoy my material life and wanted to hear something like the Bugs or the Beatles or something like that. And all of a sudden, it was about 10 o'clock at night on an alternative radio station. They started playing His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada's album. I think it was called the Happening Album or something like that, where Prabhupada was chanting Hare Krishna. And just hearing the sound vibration of Srila Prabhupada chanting changed my whole life. This was in 1968 or 69. It changed my whole life, and I just heard the sound. I didn't know what it was, and so I thought I had to record it. So I had one of these old types of recorders, reel-to-reel, giant recorder, was about this big, and stayed up all night until they played this song again, and then I recorded it and played it over and over and over again, and here I am today. That's, of course, that's Brahmanda Brahmate Khanda Bhagwan Jivaguru Krishna Prasadi Bhai Bhakti Lata Bij. That I was wandering throughout all the different universes. I don't know how many universes, but a few of them. And I came across His Divine Grace of the Prabhupada by the mercy of Krishna. And the reason it happened, nothing happens by accident. As previous to that, I was praying to God to please let me understand him and serve him. So I'd make that prayer continue. This was like a mantra that I had, that my dear Lord, please let me serve you and understand you. Please, Lord, again and again I would repeat this mantra, and then all of a sudden I turn on the radio and there's Prabhupada. So by the mercy of Krishna, one gets Guru, and by the mercy of Guru, one gets Krishna. Okay?
Your mantra of service brought you to the Mahamantra. So, such an inspirational story. Thank you, Maharaj. Second question is, what quality in Srila Prabhupada attracted you when you first came to the movement? What quality continues to inspire you? And how do you feel most connected to Prabhupada now?
What quality inspired Prabhupada's acceptance and compassion? More than anything else, because I had come across many other spiritualists, and at that time I didn't really understand the philosophy too well. So it was just Prabhupada's just love and compassion and acceptance that really got me. And of course that's also the quality that inspires me right now. What was the third one?
How do you feel connected to him today?
Through service, through exhibiting that same compassion to others, rather than trying to fit everybody into a management slots. Sometimes we find that, even today I was having a discussion with some of my godbrothers on the internet, of course, which is where we have discussions nowadays, that about management, zonal management, how to manage things, whether you should actually be just like strict, detailed, or just be lenient or liberal. And so we were discussing how Prabhupada, he was actually very liberal with everybody and loving with everybody and accepting. Even if someone made a mistake or someone did something even grievous, Prabhupada would be crying and accepting them back at any time.
Thank you, Maharaj. Our next question is, what is your most memorable seva in the last 50 years?
Most memorable seva, when I was sitting in the car with Srila Prabhupada and feeding him cookies. Oh. The story is, I went to Fort Worth. Fort Worth is outside of Dallas, Texas, in case some of you don't know that. And we were going with Srila Prabhupada on a preaching engagement. Myself, Srila Prabhupada, and Sasrup Mars, and there was a driver, and I forget who the driver was. And so I had this whole big plate of cookies. And the cookies were meant for preaching. But I forgot, I was just so overwhelmed being with Prabhupada. For me, it was always like that when I was with Prabhupada, that it was just overwhelming. Oh my God, what am I doing? I'm sitting in the same car with Srila Prabhupada. How is this possible? And so basically, I went in a daze on the preaching engagement, which I had arranged. That's why I got a chance to go on the preaching engagement, and a TV station. And then on the way back, I forgot actually to give the cookies out to anybody. So I thought I better apologize to Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada, I'm sorry, I didn't give any of the cookies out. And then Prabhupada reached his hand out. Give me some cookies. So he gave him a cookie, and then he reached his hand out again, and ate the cookie, and reached his hand out again, and he ate the cookie, and reached his hand out again. And finally, Sasrup Maharaj said, well, just give him the whole plate. Because Prabhupada, he had this appetite after he preached. It was just like a soldier coming back from the battlefield. And he just all right, let's take prasadam, boys. We conquered over our enemies. So that was the mood that Srila Prabhupada had. That's perhaps, I would say, one of the most memorable experiences I've ever had. Another one was, since you asked the question, it's usually when Prabhupada was there. When, during Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja, I think it was New Vrindavan 1972, if I remember correctly. And, the year. I remember everything, but not the year. So, right after Srila Prabhupada gave his talk, then it was decided to distribute the cake Srila Prabhupada's cake. So Prabhupada gave the cake to his assistant, said, distribute this to the devotees. So at that point, there ensued such a melee, a clamor, a fight. The devotees were punching each other, climbing on top of each other, just to get a piece of Prabhupada's cake, because Prabhupada had taken a little bit of it, his remnants, and just and Prabhupada the whole time was laughing like anything to see the devotees fighting over his remnants. Another time, I mean, just all these memories of Prabhupada coming back. Another time I arranged for a reception for Srila Prabhupada, and this was also Dallas, Texas, because I was in charge of the PR department, public relations, or whatever they call it nowadays. And Srila Prabhupada, we offered Srila Prabhupada a plate. There's actually a video of this reception in the VIP room. And Prabhupada was very, very pleased. But we offered Prabhupada a plate of fruit, big plate of fruit. And then the devotees wanted to go back to the temple with Prabhupada, and I, being very merciful, said, I'll clean up. So I took this whole plate of fruit and ate everything on it, including the orange rinds, the stems, the grape stems, the grape pits, everything except for the plate. Because the plate was metal. So I was always very, very enthusiastic to eat any of the Mahaprasadam that Srila Prabhupada left. And then when I would walk on the beach with Srila Prabhupada, I would sometimes walk behind Prabhupada and take the sand from his footprints and throw the sand in my mouth. And this way, take the dust from his lotus feet. So anyway, so I have great faith in the prasadam remnants, the dust of the feet, and the foot bathing water of the pure devotees. So.
That was so heart-touching to hear, Maharaj, especially those of us who haven't met Prabhupada in his physical form.
Yeah.
It feels like we're learning more about him, his personality, and we're right there with him and with you. So thank you so much for sharing that with all of us.
Thank you.
Very nice. Our next question is, what is an obstacle that you struggled with in your own Krishna consciousness? How did you overcome it? And what advice do you have to others that might be going through the same thing?
Uh-oh.
Putting you on the spot
What is
here.
the greatest obstacle? How did I overcome it? If I did overcome it. I think the greatest obstacle I had, and I have, is something called impatience. Because, because of my background is in science and mathematics. And it was very easy for me to understand things very, very quickly. And for trying to explain to other devotees, I was always a horrible teacher because I would get angry with the students for not learning fast enough. So also, with impatience with different things. So how did I overcome it? I chanted Hare Krishna very loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And went for walks and rode on my bicycle. So, it's something we have to deal with. Being impatient with, and not so much with the devotees in their spiritual life. That I'm pretty patient with, but just with normal management things or normal things that happen in this world. I can be almost, don't test me, but I can be almost unlimitedly patient. Shouldn't have said that. I said almost. It almost doesn't count. What do they say? It doesn't count. In horseshoes. It only counts in horseshoes. So, with devotees in their spiritual lives, they're struggling and everything like that, yeah. I can be patient, but not so much with management things. That's why I try to stay out of management, because I get very frustrated. So. Question?
Thank you, Marge. That was a great answer. What is a service very close to your heart? One of your favorite services to render?
Favorite service to render is to helping devotees, counseling devotees. And that's why I wrote that book about empathic communication. Because I see so many struggles. This is not only with devotees, but I see so many struggles that people have with interpersonal relationships and not understanding each other and calling each other names or thinking certain things about each other without understanding the other person's perspective. So to me, that's, and people really like that. I mean, for example, we set up this whole program in Australia, in Sydney, Australia, to try to help the devotees in personal, personal interaction, as far as also making devotees and cultivating devotees. And over the last year, this program has made like over 30 to 40 new devotees, just by having compassion and concern and asking people what they want or if they have any questions like that. Okay.
One thing you are known for is how consistent you are in your sadhana and how you show up day after day, year after year, decade after decade. So do you have any realizations from your chanting and any tips for us if we're going through any rough patches?
Just be OCD. No. No. Consistency in sadhana. Well, I mean, it's the same thing in my relationship with Prabhupada. As I've often mentioned, as a Shisha or disciple of Prabhupada, I try to think, whenever I'm making a decision, whatever I'm doing throughout the day, what would Prabhupada want if Prabhupada was here? And Prabhupada certainly is here in his Vani. Like, what would Prabhupada want as far as, let's say, like sadhana, getting up early in the morning? Would Prabhupada want me to set a good example? Would Prabhupada want me to do this reading? Would Prabhupada want me to do the service? So everything, I try my best to base everything upon Prabhupada being there. And I sort of internalize, that's what I advise the devotees, to internalize their spiritual master, internalize Srila Prabhupada. So they're continually asking the question of their spiritual master, of course, my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, continually asking the question, Prabhupada, what should I do now? Should I sleep in or go to the morning program? And, I mean, I'll give you an example of a bigger choice I've made. One of the bigger choices I've made in life is that, as everyone knows, I'm very attracted to Govardhan. Govardhan, for those of you who don't know, is a hill in UP, near Vrindavan. And this is the hill that Krishna picked up. And I'm very attracted to worshiping Govardhan, being at Govardhan. I've even gone there during the summer months when it's 50 degrees centigrade. I don't know if any of you know what 50 degrees centigrade is. It's like 125, 128 degrees Fahrenheit. And just to be there in that atmosphere and to be free of all the normal management, headaches, and all those other things that I have to deal with is sort of, it is going back to home, back to Godhead. So oftentimes we hear this saying, goodbye, cruel world. So I'd be very attracted just to staying there and chanting and just going around Govardhan, hey Radhe, Braja Devake, hey Nanda Shano Kuta, Krishna, where are you? Of course, I haven't seen Krishna. But still, just to be there in that atmosphere. And so then I think, okay, I'm old enough, I can do it, nobody's going to blame me. At 65, because I'm 75 now. But I was starting to think like that at 65. So, but then I asked Prabhupada. Now, Prabhupada, as you know, wasn't on the planet physically at that point. So, but I asked Prabhupada in my heart, So this is the relationship one should have with the spiritual master. I asked Prabhupada in the heart, and then Prabhupada started to yell at me. And he used all sorts of words that I can't repeat. No, they weren't bad words, but they were words like rascal, you idiot, don't you understand anything I've taught you? Okay, yes, sir. You have to die on the battlefield, Prabhupada said. All right. What about going to Vrindavan and waiting until I die? Sometimes people think like that, at the ripe old age of 40, someone should just go stay in Vrindavan in case they may die an early death. But that's not the message I got from Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, you stay and you fight on the battlefield, and how glorious it is if you die on the battlefield. And you see that many great devotees, of course, Prabhupada did leave this world from Vrindavan, but many great devotees died, or don't want to use the word died, but they left this world in the battlefield, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was in Calcutta, and according to his Guru Maharaj, Calcutta was the place of Kali. That's what Srila Gaurika Shardas Babaji Maharaj said, it's the place of Kali. And so we find so many of these great devotees, they left their bodies outside of the holy place because wherever they were was a holy place. I'm not saying wherever I am is a holy place. But if I'm serving Prabhupada, Prabhupada's presence is there, and that place is a holy place. And so, like my godbrother, Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, he decided to leave at Gita Nagari. He could have gone to Vrindavan. He had adequate warning that he was going to leave his body. So, anyway, that's the relationship with a guru. The one asks that question, and according to the answer, one has to be. That's what Shishya means. Shishya comes from the root shashdatu, which means discipline. So that's the training I had in Krishna consciousness, that Prabhupada is my boss forever and ever and ever. Janme Janme Prabhu say, isn't it? So, another question?
Yes, Maharaj, your faith in the Guru Jana and Srila Prabhupada is so inspiring, and it's very inspiring to me personally how much you connect to his Vani, because that is truly where his instructions lie, and especially what you said about talking to him in your heart and hearing him yelling at you. That was very sweet, very intimate, and also very good instruction for us who might not always get direct association of our Guru Dev's Vapu. So thank you so much,
Good.
Maharaj. Next question is, what is one piece of advice you'd give to the future generation of ISKCON?
Ooh. Be practical materially and spiritually. What I mean by that is that what I saw to a large extent in my generation, that we were, let's say, practical spiritually, but many people didn't understand their basic needs or their, just material needs, because it's Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and therefore they weren't able to proceed in Krishna consciousness. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Chaitanya Shikshamrita states that we have both material needs and spiritual needs, and in order to progress at an even pace in Krishna consciousness, we need to be aware of these needs. And each and every one of us has different amounts of each one of the needs. Like we have social needs, we have needs for recreation, we have needs for fun. Of course, I left out Krishna consciousness. But we have needs, obviously, for Krishna consciousness. But we have needs for rest, for food, for all these basic human needs. And so one has to make plans even for taking care of these particular needs, which means even having further education. I remember in the early days of the movement, sometimes we would decry if someone wanted to get some, quote, material education. We'd say that's Maya. But Srila Prabhupada would often encourage people. Like I remember he encouraged Sadhguru to Peru and other ones of my godbrothers to go on further in their education. But Prabhupada did not encourage me. I wanted to go further in my education. And I wrote Prabhupada a letter, can I get my PhD? And my PhD was going to be in science and engineering, and that was always my field and always materially my first love. So, I loved mathematics and science more than anything else before I joined the movement. Thank God that protected me. Because you can't break the principles with mathematics. Anyway, so anyway, Prabhupada answered, what is the use for me? And I was thinking, sorry. My parents are going to pay for my education. I want to be a big PhD and work in the Bhaktivedanta Institute. And Prabhupada said, no. Let him just remain as he is. And thank God Prabhupada said that. And thank God I listened. Because of that, I'm here today. God knows where I'd be if I had. But still, at the same time, for many people, more education is very important. And I see that for our next generation of devotees, that we shouldn't discourage people from getting education, but actually encourage people to get, not spend their whole lives as eternal students, but to get the education that enables them to have a basis from which they can preach Krishna consciousness and be respected in society and to maintain their families. In the beginning days of the movement, we thought nobody was going to be married. Or if someone happened to be married, that means they left the movement. I remember there was one married couple in the movement there were several, but there was only one married couple that actually lived outside of the temple. And the man's name was Vaman Dev. And I remember, saying the devotee saying, there's actually some married devotee lives outside the temple. I said, oh my God, how is that possible? Because everybody else, if they were married, they were living in the temple with their wives, which is kind of a strange situation. And so I actually went to visit that devotee, and I went into his home and I saw it. He has deities in his home. What's happening? There's actually Krishna consciousness outside of the temple? Unbelievable. So anyway, this was the beginning days of the movement. We were rather very fanatic in many different ways. So I think we have to become much more open and accepting, and understand how to apply Krishna consciousness in each and every circumstance in people's lives. And encourage people, even in their educational lives, their financial lives, because all these devotees, if they're encouraged properly, will be a great assistance to the Krishna consciousness movement. Otherwise, if we didn't have all you nice devotees who were married and contributing to the temple, we'd have to send, there's one devotee, I don't know if she's here, Tulsi, is she here? No. We'd have to send her out to sell cookies again. Because one of the ways, in the beginning days of this temple here, we didn't have any congregation. And the Sunday feast was basically a campfire where we sat around and toasted our pakoras. And that was it. So not many people wanted to come to such a Sunday feast. And I did the cooking. I don't know how good it was. So, and then she went out, and on Christmas marathon, we used to call that marathon. I guess you still have marathons nowadays. And she would sell cookies, and that would support the temple. Remember that? She's wearing a mask, so we can't identify her. But we owe a great debt to her for doing that austerity. And that's really why we have a temple here today. Of course, she didn't pay for the construction of the temple. That was paid for by some of my friends in Greensboro and some other places. They helped pay for the construction. But But for the maintenance, yes, she paid for that. So it was a struggle. So you know, I began to understand the need for a larger community to support a temple and support the preaching of Krishna consciousness, and that's what we have now. And so, anyway, we matured a little bit over the last 55 years. So,
Hearing you talk about New Goloka's history in the very beginning makes me want to know more. So, how did you decide that this would be where New Goloka Dham would be? And maybe you can share a little bit more about like New Goloka's journey to get to where we are today.
okay, so we decided this location because we had previously been involved in managing a temple in Miami, and for one reason or other, things didn't work out. So I decided just to be a pioneer, and this was in 1981. Yeah, 1981 or 82, 81 to 82. So anyway, so I decided to be a pioneer and open up a temple in a place where there were no temples in the United States. So I looked at North Carolina, and there was no temples, but there were a lot of, let's say, people living in North Carolina, at least in this part of North Carolina. So I decided, let's open up a temple where we can preach at the universities nearby. And so we took a compass. I don't know if you know or remember what a compass is. It's a thing that is used to draw circles. Anyone heard about that before? No. So we took a compass and drew circles around each of the major population areas where there were universities. And where all the circles intersected was right here. And so I decided, well, we're going to buy some land here. So we had no money. But fortunately, one of the many skills that I acquired throughout my Krishna consciousness was that I had a real estate license. So I knew how to buy property without money. I won't tell you how. It's legal, but I'm not going to tell you. So I knew how to buy property without any money. So we looked around. I wanted to find property on a river, which this property has. And I zeroed in on this property, went to the owner, and made a deal with him and bought the property here. And that's how we got started at this particular location. And in the beginning, basically we didn't have any facilities because we didn't have any money. And like again, Tulsi was there distributing books and cookies. And because we didn't have any facilities, we had to live in rather primitive situations. The first thing we were living in is a travel trailer. Probably the travel trailer was right on the property here. There was one travel trailer for the ladies and one for the men, or that was later. Yeah, actually Tulsi, she lived in her car throughout the winters, right? The summers were worse. So she stayed in her car throughout the winters, and we had this travel trailer, and so, but there was no running water, no bathrooms or anything like that, so it was very primitive camping for the first year or two, even though during the winters used to be a lot colder than they are today. They were so cold that our river in the back of the property would freeze completely, and you could walk on the river and ice skate on the river if you wanted to. That's how cold it was. And so we lived like that and then I lived in a cabin without any facilities for actually 10 to 15 years. And gradually people started coming. We built the temple. I built the temple. A lot of this temple I built with my own hands, laid the blocks and everything like that, and the flooring and everything like that. So we built the temple, and gradually people started coming, and now New Goloka is so big we don't know what to do. We have so many people. And hopefully this year we're going to be starting on the new temple expansion. We'll be talking more about that in the near future when we get the permits, which we've already applied for. So,
Thank you for sharing that. I have been coming for my whole life, but I didn't know how much austerity these devotees had to undergo. So my deepest gratitude to all the devotees that have made New Goloka Dham possible. So thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mother Tulsi. And there.
yeah. It's basically her who did most of the austerity.
I can't even begin to imagine. And I know there's so many more names that I don't even know of, and so many names I probably do know of, but I'm not saying. But oh, so much gratitude to be in this temple room today. Thank you so much. So much, devotees. And Shri Shri Radha Golokananda really gave us you, and well, you gave us Radha Golokananda actually. So thank you so much for that as well.
There was actually one other.
Yes.
Oh, there's one other devotee I wanted to thank. There's Karuna Purna Shakti. She's not here today. She might be watching online. So she also did a lot of austerities and did a lot. She chopped down all the trees. She was expert with a chainsaw in a good way. You got to be careful nowadays. So all right. So what was the question?
I think.
Okay, so Radha Golokananda. So it also involves how the temple was constructed. So I had this dream of making a dome temple. I mean, somehow or other due to my background and, architecture, mathematics. So anyway, I sort of designed this temple before it was built. And I made a scale model of the temple out of styrofoam. And so I thought, let me see if someone wants to give money for it. You can see how Krishna arranges things. So what happened is that I went to some of my friends' houses here, and the first one got so excited. I mean, you can see Krishna was just definitely arranging everything. He said, okay, here's $10,000. And at that time, we're talking about 1982, sorry. 1982, $10,000 is equivalent to how much today? Like $50,000 today. Or maybe even more. Probably more. Probably like 80,000 or close to 100,000. So, all right. And then I went to another friend and he gave $10,000 to build the temple. I said, all right, Krishna wants a temple. So, and then the second person, he says, I want to sponsor the deities. And so we were going over all the different pictures of deities around ISKCON, all the Radha Krishna deities around ISKCON. And so I took some of those pictures and I flew to Jaipur. Jaipur is where they make the deities. And generally when, devotees buy deities, they buy what we say off-the-shelf deities. Jaipur is a city, well, not the whole city. Jaipur has a lot of jewelry industry and everything like that. But there's a whole section of Jaipur which is just dedicated to murtis, deities. I mean, they have murtis of even politicians there. I remember going into one store, and there was a big murti of Indira Gandhi. And, everybody imaginable, all 33 million demigods. Not that Indira Gandhi was a demigod. But it was just like, oh my God, what's happening here? So we finally went to a place where they make the deity. And so I showed them the picture, and I said, this is what we want. This is how we want Krishna to look, how we want Radharani to look, what size, and everything like that. And the gentleman said, yes, we can do it. And so I gave some money, whatever it was. And I would come back yearly, and he was working on this. He starts with a block of marble like this, and gradually chipping away, the deity reveals himself or herself to the sculptor. And so eventually, the deities were done, and then I arranged for packing the deities in Jaipur, and shipping to New York, and then, because I didn't want to chance the DDs getting broken, so I picked the DDs up in New York and unpacked them in front of the customs agent. The customs agent said, "What's this?" I says, "Krishna." Opened it up, and he says, "Yeah." And so then we put the DDs in my car, and I drove the DDs from New York here, and the DDs stayed in the cabin. This is the cabin where I stayed for about 15 years is still there in the woods. It's like a memorial. Well, not a memorial because I'm still alive, but it's like just a memory of all the things that we went through in the early days. So then the DDs stayed there, and then in 1985, the DDs were installed after we constructed the temple here. And this temple was constructed, a lot of the construction by myself and other devotees. I would say 98% was done by devotees. And I can't think of anything that was done right now by a professional. It was all done by volunteer labor.
We really are standing on the mercy of the devotees right now.
Yeah.
And
it's strong. You can stand on it. we built the floor so it'll stand up to over 150 pounds per square inch, because we understood people would be dancing on it. So sometimes you go into a temple and you dance on, especially if it's on the second floor, the whole building starts to change shape. But this floor is solid.
I believe you. I've danced on this floor as well.
Yeah, it's solid.
And it's so clear how you're using your engineering skills and Krishna service as well. You didn't need a PhD. You already made this whole temple. And thank you for hand-delivering Radha Golokananda to us. Thank you so much. Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we're getting down to some final questions from my side before the rapid fire round.
Rapid fire.
So what do you think is the most important for ISKCON to continue and grow, both in our community and beyond?
Personal relationships. Most important. I mean, we can do many big programs. This is also part of the strategy I help them develop in Sydney right now, and maybe we want to apply that strategy here. Like in Sydney before, they were trying to make devotees by doing different hall programs, renting halls and doing. This is in Western Sydney. I was involved, and I'm still involved in helping to build a temple in Western Sydney. But anyway, so I told them, no, instead, you go in people's homes, find out their challenges, talk to them individually, be compassionate with them, and this is how more and more people will join the movement, because people want to feel, just like I joined the movement because I felt loved by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada and accepted by Srila Prabhupada. Previous to that, I think I should tell this story, which I've told many times before. Even though I understood the philosophy, before I met Prabhupada, I understood the philosophy, I was chanting and everything like that. I didn't want to join the movement because the devotees dealt with me rather roughly each time I came to the temple. They preached at me, to me, and at me, telling me unless I joined right now and shaved off all my beautiful hair, which I can't grow anymore, so that I was going to go to hell. I thought, here's just another version of born-again Christians, born-again Krishnas. So, therefore, I was very much turned off by the devotees, even though I had accepted the philosophy. But when I came in contact with Prabhupada and his compassion and love and personal dealings really got me. That was the hook that really got me. So I think this is something we need to learn in Krishna consciousness. Then we can expand unlimitedly. Just applying this particular type of strategy of meeting with people, talking to people, hearing about them, hearing about their lives and trying to help them The last time I was in Sydney, we had an initiation where 29 devotees got initiated. And how much time do I spend in Sydney? Not a lot. So we need to think about strategy, how to deal with people, compassion, personal dealings. This is what people really want more than anything else. And philosophy. Philosophy, yes, but personalism more than philosophy. Okay.
I know university programs are very close to your heart, and I've heard several students say from various universities how they walk into the Bhakti Yoga Club and it feels like they're welcome, they're accepted, and that's the reason they keep coming back. So this philosophy of compassion and empathy is really at the root of first Gauranga Mahaprabhu and then Srila Prabhupada, and then now you're carrying it on. So thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Now are you ready for the
I'm
rapid
ready
fire?
for the what does rapid fire mean?
It means these are quick questions and
Quick answers.
quick answers. And you can elaborate if you so desire, but the idea is quick answers.
Okay.
So, favorite pastime from Krishna book?
Favorite pastime is Krishna stealing butter and feeding it to the monkeys. That's actually the first pastime or first part of Prabhupada's books I ever read, and it stuck in my mind, even though I didn't understand who Krishna was. I thought I was going crazy just thinking about a little blue boy feeding butter to the monkeys and them eating so much they didn't want any more, and him saying, this butter is no good because even the monkeys won't eat it now.
Yes, that is the beautiful Lord that we worship.
Yeah.
Favorite pastime from Chaitanya Charitamrita?
Favorite pastime from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Oh my God. Favorite pastime. Let me think about that one. Can I get a second to think about it? Favorite pastime from Chaitanya Charitamrita is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being scared that Jagannatha Pandit is going to get angry with him and eating more than he wanted to eat because Jagannatha Pandit kept feeding him.
Okay, favorite pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam?
Favorite pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam. Well, should I mention 10th canto? Well, that's Krishna stealing butter, feed it to the monkeys.
Is there anything else in the other cantos that...
Yeah, the cantos. I think Chitraketu trying to have a son by marrying 10 million wives. It's just like, oh my God, what is he doing? Can he learn? You know, I know they're saying if at first you can't succeed, try again, but that's a little bit too much.
Okay. Favorite verse from the Bhagavad Gita?
Favorite verse, Yamam pasati sarvatra sarvam jamai pasati tashaham na pranashami sachame na pranashati. One who sees Krishna everywhere and sees everything Krishna has never lost to him, nor has he ever lost to that person. 6:30.
Is there a reason that's your favorite?
Because I like to see Krishna everywhere if I can. And
Very good answer.
Understand, no matter what happens, it's Krishna. Unless it's my fault.
Thank you, Maharaj. Okay, favorite place in the world?
Govardhan.
Also a good answer.
New Goloka.
I think the crowd liked that one.
Yeah.
So.
I think everyone liked that one.
Okay, I know. Favorite prasadam? I know you were very austere with your prasadam intake, but I'll ask anyways.
Favorite prasadam? No. Hemp-seed yogurt.
Wow. That sounds like so nutritional.
And sauerkraut.
Much different than my favorite prasadam, but that was to be expected. Your favorite piece of advice you've ever heard?
Be patient.
Be patient. Okay, I think that is all the pestering I have for you today. Thank you so much for...
I thought let the audience ask questions.
Yes, I was just about to hand it over to anyone in the audience who has any questions for Maharaj. They can just raise their hands, and Maharaj can pick and choose who he'd like to answer.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, good to see you. Good to see you in person.
Nice to be back. Yeah.
So I have two questions, but I don't know. I'll ask one. So in your life's journey, a few things which are evident is that the analytical mind you had, and then gradually, once you met Prabhupada, you basically surrendered yourself. So, and then the austerity from 1980s to establish this particular center and expanding Krishna consciousness. So how is what you already shared, like the timeline-wise, but what is that inspires you day in, day out to never give up? Because you had so many challenges in your story which you did not highlight in detail, and that's fine, but where's that inspiration, motivation coming to not give up?
Just that I'm a servant of Prabhupada. If you're a servant, you don't think about your own challenges or problems or anything like that. You think about pleasing, what I'm looking for is Prabhupada to smile at me and say, good boy. And that's enough. That's enough. I mean, all these other things are not really challenges. They're opportunities. Yeah, they're challenges and opportunities for pleasing Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, without opposition, where's the chance for a glorious victory? Okay? That's it?
Can I ask another one?
Yeah, why not?
So the second is based on a separation, so please excuse me, but we see in this current time that most of the devotees are leaving this planet. You have dealt that personally by seeing Prabhupada leaving this world in your lifetime, but a neophyte devotee who is struggling to even do his sadhana has attachments to devotees, and then they gradually leave, and that's how the world works. But how to deal with all that and still, again, not give up the Krishna consciousness, because sometimes it's challenging to just absorb all that loss.
Well, I think it should just inspire one to serve more. I mean, you remember that a Vaishnava, he reasons ill, says that Vaishnavas die when thou art living still and sound. So as soon as we lose the vapu, or the physical presence of a Vaishnava, we should realize if we want to stay in touch with them, we have to serve them. We have to serve them previously too, but even more so when the vapu is not there anymore. Just like recently, one of my godbrothers passed away, and Gopal Krishna Maharaj passed away, and so I immediately, of course, I'll tell you my initial reaction when I heard that he was sick before he passed away. I got really upset. I said some words I did. I was upset with Krishna that he was sick. Because we have a great love for each other. But when he passed away, then I thought, let me reach out to his disciples. So I immediately called some of his disciples. I don't know if any of them are here right now. But I called some of his disciples, even though they were in different places of the world, and I felt very much connected to him at that point. So I thought, even insofar as it regards godbrothers or friends in Krishna consciousness, that if we serve them after they've left the planet, then we always remain connected. And that's been my experience, that we remain connected with each other. Like Prabhupada said, we have an ISKCON in the spiritual world. So it's not that we're only connected with Guru, we're connected with each and every other member of the Krishna consciousness movement in a very large family. And I don't feel disconnected from any of my godbrothers who passed away. I have pictures of them in my house. And I don't know, I feel connected with Prabhupada and connected with them. if you serve them, that's the point. You serve them and you're connected.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please
Hare
accept
Krishna.
my humble pranams. So if it's okay with you Maharaj, can you please share why Giriraj Govardhan is your favorite place and how did it become your favorite place?
Uh-oh. I don't know. It's something from the heart. It's hard to say, Why is your husband the favorite? What? Now you're compelled and you're forced? No. No, I mean, why your children, someone has children, why are they the favorite? It's hard to describe. Emotions are emotions are emotions are emotions. I don't think there's really a logical reason. I could say yes because it's the most intimate place, because there's descriptions of all the holy places. The Braj area is the holiest place, and amongst all the places in Mathura Mandala, Govardhan is the holiest place, nectar of instruction. And amongst Govardhan places in Govardhan, Radhakund is the holiest place. So that's theoretical, but it also has to be one's bhav too. So how to explain bhav? Bhav is bhav. Emotion is emotion. What can I say? And just recently I saw a video of from the Ramayana, and it's really struck my heart. Why did it strike my heart? I don't know. I happen to like Sita and Ram. Why do you like Sita and Ram? I don't know. You can give a theoretical explanation. Why do you like Krishna? Well, he's Bhagawan. He's the richest. He's the most famous. But really, we like Krishna because he's Krishna. Like Prabhupada said, showing his mood, he said, even if Krishna is not the Supreme Personality of God, we still love him. So, of course, Prabhupada understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when there's emotion there, you can't really... You can, but an analysis doesn't really tell you anything. So Govardhan. It's Govardhan. Why? Govardhan is Govardhan. It's Govardhan. It's Govardhan. Go, Govardhan. Go.
Thank you so much Maharaj.
It is the holiest place.
It's the holiest. So
It's
is
the
it-
holiest place.
so
But
some-
that's theoretical.
So is it something like you developed that love and affection by hearing about Giriraj Govardhan or reading about Giriraj Govardhan?
I think the question, with me, it was like being there.
Being there.
Being there. I read about Govardhan, and of course there's an attraction from reading, but just being at Govardhan, just the atmosphere, being there, and just breathing the air at Govardhan, and going around Govardhan, and meeting the people. It's the people also, because I really like to be with the Brajabasis there, who are the simple Brajabasis around Govardhan. And it's just for people who are very sweet, and they're very pure. They're pure devotees. They may not have sadhana or anything like that, but the people there are Krishna's people. They're pure devotees.
Jai, very beautiful answers, Maharaj. Thank
All
you
right,
so
thank you.
much.
Adios. Yeah, we have a question. Here's a question about it. With Walmart?
Walmart? Yeah. Yeah. Like, in a light note, a lot of times you talk about the Walmart.
Oh, Walmart?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say Walmart this time, but
Not this.
it's What? Walmart. Kmart. Oh, that was before Walmart. Walmart's the recent incarnation. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't have an answer to it. Can you give me an instance when I talked about Walmart?
So many times, I think, whenever you, like, in a light note.
Oh, that story. That story. When I was a new devotee, yeah, if that's the story. When I was a new devotee, I was working for a sannyasi who should remain nameless, who didn't give me time to chant japa. And I was always very determined to finish my japa. So the first day or two, I had to end up chanting my japa after 10 o'clock at night, which was not actually the best experience. So after that, I developed a trick. Every time I was sent to the grocery store, that time we didn't have Walmart, but to the store like a Walmart, I would take an extra 2 hours, and he would ask me, because I was always very determined. There's never been a time since I joined the society when I didn't chant 16 rounds a day in a particular day. Even because to me it represents my connection with Prabhupada, my connection with Krishna. So to not do that would be almost like breaking a connection. So therefore I developed the habit of taking an extra 2 hours to go shopping, and he would ask me, why did you take an extra 2 hours to go shopping? I said, there was a long line. That's probably the story you're talking about. Yeah.
Please accept my humble obeisance in Jai Sri Prabhupada. Gurudev, you do such a mesmerizing kirtan, and that too with guitar. How do you learn guitar?
How did I learn it?
How did you learn guitar?
How did I learn guitar? I picked it up. I'm not really that good at guitar, but when I was young, my mother gave me guitar lessons.
And it reflects such a nice in the kirtan. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you. Yeah, Rishikesh.
I just want to know, what is the one thing we should focus on that will please Srila Prabhupada the most? I mean, there are so many things, but there are also one thing we should really...
Dadati pratagranati guyang apyati prichati bhunkte abhosyate chaiva. The loving relationships between Vaishnavas.
Thank you.
Giving prasadam, accepting prasadam, giving gifts, accepting gifts, revealing the mind in confidence, and hearing in confidence. Like that. I think that's the most important thing. Prabhupada said our movement expands because of loving exchanges. Philosophy is there. I mean, that gives us the intellectual basis to remain steady. I mean, philosophy is very important. Knowing to function on the intelligence platform is very important so one remains steady. But one has to have a taste. The taste is actually in the sambandha, the relationship. Relationship between the Vaishnavas and relationship with Krishna. And that's really... Otherwise, one won't be happy. Okay? So, I think it's time, right? You want to thank Sveta for doing such a good job.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. This was so memorable, so amazing to learn from you, about this temple, about Prabhupada and your connection. Thank you so much. We're so fortunate to have you. His Holiness Sri Krishna Maharaj ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
There we go.
So I will hand the mic over to Dityanay Prabhu. I think we have a dance performance waiting downstairs.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
So Maharaj, that was really so inspiring. You have a question? You have a question? Can we take one last question?
Yeah, we can take a question.
What is your favorite Prabhupada book?
What's my favorite Prabhupada book? Krishna book.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, when did you get initiated and what inspired you to get initiated?
I got initiated in the, whoops. Okay. I got initiated in the beginning, January of 1972. There's a letter from Prabhupada with my name on it. And my name is very unusual because most people, when they hear the word beer, they think of something that people drink. So then I always was thinking about this, why would Prabhupada call me beer? And then I understood that's the Bengalicized way of saying veer, or heroic or strong, like that. So it's a Veera Krishna. So it was the beginning of 1972, that's right. And the reason I was inspired, well, actually when I met Prabhupada, it was 1971. And Prabhupada inspired me so much that 1 week after I met Prabhupada, I asked him for initiation. I didn't even wait, any time. So at that time, there was a temple president there who was quite tough. He was, well, some of you may know him. His name was Amarendra. He's a devotee, a friend of mine. And he got really angry, and he threatened to beat me up for asking Prabhupada for initiation without his permission. And so I had to wait another about 3 months. So the reason I wanted to take from Prabhupada is because I understood Prabhupada was my eternal spiritual master. I recognized him immediately. Not only was there the compassion there and the love from Srila Prabhupada, but there was recognition. It's called deja vu, to recognize someone from the past. So here's my eternal father. I had already had a father, material father, but I understood Prabhupada as my eternal father, and I wanted to take initiation from him as soon as possible. Okay? Nice question. Oh, another question. Yeah, let her ask us a question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, what was your favorite part of the Ramayana?
Favorite what? Favorite part of Ramayana. Of our favorite part of the Ramayana. Okay. That's actually an interesting question. Favorite part of the Ramayana. Favorite part of the Ramayana is when Hanuman meets Ram for the first time. That what happens is that Ram and Lakshman are wandering by the side of Mount Rishimukh. And the monkeys on top of Mount Rishimukh, along with Sugriva, are very worried that these people have been sent by Bali to hurt them. And so they send out Hanuman. Hanuman takes on the disguise of a Brahmin at that point. But Hanuman has this jewel around his neck that no one else can see except for Ram. So Hanuman starts to speak like a very educated Brahmin to Ram. And Ram is laughing. He knows it's Hanuman. And finally says, "What's that jewel around your neck?" And Hanuman realizes that's his Ram. And he practically faints in ecstasy and bows down to Ram. And he turns into his original form as Hanuman, and they embrace each other. That's perhaps the most heart-wrenching meeting in the whole Ramayana story. I mean, Ravan doesn't interest me that much. He says, he's just a stereotypical demon. So, any other? Okay. Oh my God. Okay. We'll go on forever.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So my question is, what was your experience like when you first met His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada?
It was like I had entered into the spiritual world, because we know the pure devotee carries all the holy places with him. In fact, we know the Ganges, when the Ganges was asked to come down by Bhagi Rath, the Ganges objected, saying, when I come down, all these rascals will bathe in me.